Right now, as you're watching this video, there are living creatures on our planet that have been alive since before the pyramids were built, before writing was invented, before agriculture existed. These aren't fossils or archaeological discoveries. These are breathing, living animals that have witnessed the entire rise of human civilization. Imagine meeting an animal that was already thousands of years old when Jesus was born. Today, I'm going to introduce you to 5 incredible creatures that are not just old, they're ancient beyond imagination. And the most mind-blowing part? Scientists believe some of them might be functionally immortal. Before we dive in, let's put this in perspective. The average human lifespan is around 75 years. The oldest verified human ever lived 122 years. Now, what if I told you that there are individual animals, not species, but single organisms, that make human lifespans look like a brief moment? We're not talking about species that have survived since ancient times. We're talking about the same individual animal that was swimming in the ocean when your ancestors were discovering fire. And it's still swimming there today. From the frozen Arctic waters to tropical coral reefs, from the deepest ocean trenches to remote islands, these living time capsules are scattered across our planet. Each one holds secrets about longevity that scientists are desperately trying to unlock. But here's the challenge. How do you determine the age of an animal that's been alive for millennia? The methods scientists use are as fascinating as the creatures themselves. So let's start our journey through deep time, beginning with our youngest ancient, a mere 400-year-old giant. Number 1. Greenland shark. Our first ancient survivor lives in one of the most hostile environments on Earth, the frigid Arctic Ocean. Meet the Greenland shark, and I'm about to tell you about one individual that's older than the United States of America. In 2016, scientists made a discovery that rewrote the record books. They found a female Greenland shark that was at least 400 years old. This means she was swimming these waters when Shakespeare was writing his plays, when the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth Rock, and she lived through both world wars. But here's where it gets really incredible. Scientists determined her age by examining proteins in her eyes. These proteins form before birth and never break down, creating a biological timestamp that can be carbon dated. It's like having a birth certificate written in her DNA. Why do these sharks live so incredibly long? The secret is their environment and metabolism. The Arctic waters are so cold that everything slows down. These sharks move at less than 2 miles per hour, slower than you walk. Their metabolism is so slow that they don't even reach sexual maturity until they're 150 years old. And they keep growing their entire lives. The largest specimens can reach 24 feet long and weigh over 30 pounds. Imagine encountering a creature in the depths that's larger than a great white shark and has been alive since before your country was founded. This shark has witnessed the entire Industrial Revolution, 2 world wars, the moon landing, and the birth of the internet. And she's still out there, slowly gliding through the Arctic darkness, completely unaware of the human world above. Number 2. Glass sponges. If a 400-year-old shark impressed you, wait until you meet our next ancient. We're traveling to the bottom of the world, to the Antarctic Ocean, where something truly prehistoric still clings to life. Meet the Antarctic glass sponge, and I'm not talking about the species. I'm talking about individual sponges that have been alive for over 15,000 years. That means they were already ancient when the last ice age was ending, when woolly mammoths still roamed the earth. These aren't your kitchen cleaning sponges. These are massive, alien-looking creatures that can grow over 6 feet tall and 5 feet wide. They're made of glass-like structures called spicules that can actually conduct light like fiber optic cables. They're literally living glass sculptures. Scientists estimate their age based on their incredibly slow growth rate and oxygen consumption. These sponges grow so slowly that they add just microscopic amounts to their structure each year. They're basically living in slow motion. Think about this. When these sponges were young, humans were just beginning to develop agriculture. The entire rise of civilization, from the first cities to space travel, has happened during these sponges' lifetimes. They've been sitting on the Antarctic seafloor, filtering water and growing for longer than recorded human history. And here's what's really mind-blowing. They have no brain, no nervous system, no organs as we understand them. They're just a collection of cells working together. Yet they've mastered the secret of extreme longevity that we're desperately trying to understand. Scientists believe these sponges could potentially live for 40 years or more. That would make them older than modern humans as a species. Imagine what secrets about cellular repair and longevity are locked away in their simple glass-like bodies. Number 3. Black coral colonies. Now, let's travel from the frozen Antarctic to the warm waters of Hawaii, where our next ancient dweller has been quietly growing in the darkness for over 40 years. 400 feet below the surface, in the perpetual darkness of the deep ocean, stands a colony of black coral that began growing before the pyramids of Egypt were built. This individual colony, called Leopathes anosa, has been carbon dated to over 265 years old. Unlike the colorful shallow water corals you might know, these deep-sea corals are built around a black skeleton, hence the name. But what you see isn't actually black. It's the golden brown living tissue covering the dark core. Here's how scientists dated this ancient coral. They carefully extracted tiny core samples and used carbon dating, similar to how we date ancient trees. The coral grows in microscopic layers, adding just 4 micrometers per year. That's about the width of a single human blood cell. This means when this coral was just starting to grow, the Bronze Age was beginning. It was alive when the Great Wall of China was built, when Rome rose and fell, when Columbus reached America. All of human recorded history has unfolded while this single organism quietly filtered seawater in the Hawaiian depths. These corals survive by filter feeding. They extend tiny tentacles to catch microscopic organisms drifting in the current. No sunlight reaches them, so they can't photosynthesize like shallow corals. They've perfected the art of patient survival in one of Earth's most stable environments. And here's something incredible. The tiny polyps that make up the coral are only a few years old. They constantly replace themselves while the skeleton they build continues to grow. It's like a building where the workers change, but the structure keeps getting taller for thousands of years. What's even more fascinating is that scientists believe there are older coral colonies out there, waiting to be discovered in the deep ocean. We've barely explored the deep sea, so there could be corals that have been growing since the dawn of human civilization, completely unknown to science. Number 4. Ancient trees. While we've been exploring the oceans, some of Earth's most ancient inhabitants have been standing in plain sight on dry land. Meet the bristlecone pines, individual trees that have been alive for over 50 years. In the mountains of California and Nevada, there are trees that were already ancient when the pyramids were being built. The oldest confirmed bristlecone pine, nicknamed Methuselah, is over 850 years old. But there's another tree, whose location is kept secret, that's estimated to be over 50 years old. These trees survive in some of the harshest conditions on Earth: high altitude, extreme temperature swings, and poor soil. But paradoxically, these harsh conditions are exactly what helps them live so long. They grow incredibly slowly, creating dense, resin-rich wood that's almost indestructible. Scientists can determine their exact age by counting growth rings, just like a timeline written in wood. Each ring represents 1 year, and some of these trees have over 50 rings. That's 50 winters survived, 50 summers endured. When the oldest of these trees was a seedling, humans were just beginning to use written language. This tree has lived through the entire span of recorded human history. It was middle-aged when Jesus was born, fully mature when the Roman Empire fell, and it's still growing today. But bristlecone pines aren't the only ancient trees. In Sweden, there's a spruce tree called Old Chico that's been growing for 550 years. In Chile, there are alurse trees over 600 years old. These living monuments have witnessed climate changes, mass extinctions, and the entire rise of human civilization. What's remarkable is how vulnerable these ancient giants are. Despite surviving for millennia, they can be destroyed by a single wildfire, disease outbreak, or human interference. We're literally walking among living beings that are older than recorded history, and most people don't even know they exist. Number 5. The Immortal Ones. But what if I told you there's something even more incredible than living for thousands of years? What if there were creatures that might never die at all? Meet Turritopsis dohrnii, the immortal jellyfish. This tiny creature, smaller than your pinky nail, has achieved what humans have dreamed of since the beginning of time. It has potentially conquered death itself. Here's how it works. When this jellyfish faces danger, injury, or old age. Instead of dying, it reverses its aging process. It literally transforms back into its juvenile form and starts life over again. It's like a butterfly turning back into a caterpillar, then becoming a butterfly again. This process, called transdifferentiation, allows the jellyfish's cells to reprogram themselves completely. It's biological time travel. The animal can reset its biological clock and become young again, potentially forever. Japanese scientist Shin Kubota has been studying these jellyfish for decades. In his lab, he's witnessed them perform this miraculous transformation up to 10 times, sometimes just weeks apart. Theoretically, under perfect conditions, they could do this indefinitely. Of course, immortal doesn't mean invincible. These jellyfish can still be eaten by predators, killed by disease, or destroyed by environmental changes. But in terms of aging and natural death, they might have solved the puzzle completely. Scientists are now studying their genes intensively, trying to understand how they achieve this cellular reprogramming. If we could understand and replicate this process, it could revolutionize our understanding of aging and potentially extend human lifespans dramatically. And here's the wild part. These jellyfish are spreading across the world's oceans. They're hitchhiking on ships and establishing populations everywhere. We might be witnessing the spread of biological immortality across our planet. So what do all these ancient creatures teach us? First, that our perspective on time is incredibly limited. We think in terms of human lifespans, but these animals operate on geological timescales. They also show us that longevity isn't about being big, strong, or complex. Some of the oldest creatures on Earth are simple sponges with no brains, or tiny jellyfish smaller than coins. They've mastered something we're still trying to understand. Every one of these ancient survivors holds clues about the biological mechanisms of aging, DNA repair, and cellular maintenance. By studying them, we're not just satisfying our curiosity, but potentially unlocking secrets that could help us live longer, healthier lives. And perhaps most importantly, they remind us how little we know about our own planet. The deep oceans, where many of these ancient creatures live, are less explored than the surface of Mars. There could be animals out there that are 50, 0 years old, or older, completely unknown to science. The next time you look at the ocean, remember that beneath those waves swim creatures that have witnessed the entire story of human civilization. They were there before we built cities, before we invented writing, before we even learned to farm. These living time capsules prove that our planet still holds incredible mysteries. What other ancient survivors are out there, waiting to be discovered? What secrets of longevity and immortality are still hidden in the deep? If this video amazed you as much as these creatures amazed me while researching them, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And let me know in the comments, if you could live as long as these ancient animals, would you want to? What would you do with thousands of years of life? Thanks for joining me on this journey through deep time, and I'll see you in the next video.